Hi, Marco. Welcome to the TMS podcast, the Monica Rajput Show. How are you?
Monica, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you so much for saying yes to this podcast. And I'm super excited to talk about Rust and your experience with the Rust and your contribution. And yeah, I'm super excited. So, Marcus, before jumping into the questions and the discussion, we really wanted to know more about you. Who is Marco Ieni?
Yeah, I'm Marco Ieni. Yeah, I'm passionate about programming. I studied computer engineering and I like to solve problems that make improve other people's life, let's say. And particularly developers. So I was always interested in creating developer toolings and improving my productivity and also the productivity of other developers.
That's great. That's great. So, Marco, I've been, seeing your LinkedIn, and there's a lot of beautiful things that has written. So, one really beautiful thing that I really, really liked is you have mentioned that I always code with elegance and simplicity in my mind. That was so beautiful.
I try. It's
Yeah.
something
So,
that I wrote probably 10 years ago, but I
yeah.
still stand by it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was so impressed by that line that okay, we can think like that as well for our work.
Yeah.
So, Marco, you have started as an embedded system engineer, and after that, you have gained a lot of expertise in Rust. So, how that all happened?
Yeah. Yeah, let's say that, yeah, I started in embedded after graduating, but I was always curious to learn about new stuff, new programming languages. So, yeah, while I was looking for the new programming language to learn, checked, like I saw Rust. But at first, I didn't like a lot the syntax, how it looked on paper. I look at some examples, and so yeah, in that moment, I was really trying to have like an elegant programming language. I don't know. Yeah, I wanted something that looked good, yeah, at the eyes. I don't know. So I started learning Kotlin, which is yeah, like something that is related to the Java ecosystem. And yeah, I was out of the university, so I wanted to learn like the best practices from the industry, how to write beautiful code, correct code, I don't know, maintainable code. So I started learning. I started reading the books Clean Code and Clean Architecture by Uncle Bob. And so, like, I wanted to put in practice, in particular, Clean Architecture, the book. And so I started writing a simple application in Kotlin following this architecture. And after I finished my example, I found that there were some issues with this approach. The first one was that it was too complicated. Like it was something simple, but it was very complicated. And also, Kotlin gives you a lot of choices. For example, it has both interfaces and extending classes. The mechanism for extending classes. So you don't know which one to choose as for the two. And also like the build system, it was like 2018, but so like I realized that I didn't know how to compile and run my code except for clicking the play button in the IntelliJ IDE, which was a problem because I wanted to test my software in CI. And so like I couldn't get how Gradle worked at all. And also I remember one day the Wi-Fi wasn't working. And so
Okay.
my program just exploded because I was looking for something on the internet. And like, how can it be that I got no warning because
Hmm.
I didn't handle this exception, you know? And
Yeah.
so, okay, I realized probably my taste in how the code reads is not the first thing, you know? So I came back to Rust and I read the last book for from the beginning to the end, and then I read it a second time, second pass, and basically it fixes all. all that issues that I faced. It doesn't have classes, so like it just had interfaces mechanism. They are called traits. The build system is very easy, like cargo. You don't need to do crazy stuff. I don't know. And then whenever there can be an error, you get a warning from the compiler. Okay, you need to manage these errors. So yeah, basically I fell in love with this programming language. And also I was coming from, as you said, embedded, so like C and C++, where anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like I was maintaining some legacy code bases, and
Mhm.
it was crazy, the amount of things that can go wrong.
Mm.
And instead you come to Rust, where like you have memory safety by default, or you don't have null pointers, you don't have race conditions, you don't have you uninitialized variables errors. I felt like this was ahead of years.
Mm.
So yeah, it was 2019, and I became obsessed with Rust. I was continuously in my free time learning, working on it, reading, listening to YouTube talks. And so I was like, okay, I need to work on it full time. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's when I looked for what jobs were available. And I ended up with my first job full time working in Rust in backend development.
Wow, I mean, that's a dream come true, because it's very visible in your GitHub profile that you really, really love the Rust, right? So it's very visible, and because I also so much impressed by your GitHub. I mean, wow, that's something a great GitHub profile I've ever seen. So now, Marco,
Thank you.
is Rust actually that hard, or is this a myth?
Is that yeah, I was coming from, let's say, C and C++, so
Mm.
I
Oh
I
my god.
already knew the hard parts that like basically what Rust does is it defines some rules
Mm.
defined by the borrow checker, the ownership mechanism, and these rules, if you follow them, prevents all the issues that you get with other languages, and C++, but also others, because like you can get null pointer exceptions, race conditions in Python, JavaScript, Java, and so on. So if you follow these rules, Rust promises that you don't get all this class of bugs. So I would say it's a bit harder to write in the first place Rust code that is valid, that passes these rules. But once you get used to them, it just clicks, and you don't think anymore about it. But paying this initial cost of learning a bit these rules and following them, it saves you tons of headache when you put you give your program to other people, whether it's an application or a backend service, something, because you will have less errors at runtime. Memory safety issues count 70% on average of bugs in Microsoft, Google Chrome, Firefox, and so on. Like all these big code bases, they did some studies, and they checked that 70% of bugs are memory safety, and Rust can undo that. Like that, the Rust can prevent those errors and even more errors. So you just pay that initial cost to learn more these more
Yeah.
things, and then it's great. It's great, yeah.
Yeah, so Marco, so imagine like I'm very new to the programming language. So sometimes what happened, the people who really wanted to learn about any language, so they have this clean sheet. Okay, they don't know anything about Rust and all. So as a maintainer and as a backend engineer at Rust, what the three things you could say? Okay, these are the reasons you should explore more about the Rust.
Okay, so
What?
why you should learn Rust, basically?
Yeah, yeah.
I think even if you don't end up using Rust makes you a better programmer, because uh, you, by reading the books or even like watching videos, whatever learning way you prefer, you learn about how Rust works, and you understand the inner problems of mm, like programs without a garbage collector. And so I think Rust makes you a better programmer, because you understand low level programs more. And even when you, let's say, when you write in other languages, you bring some concepts that you learn in Rust, or like even enums that you can represent state in this beautiful way. I think, yeah, just learning Rust makes you a better program because it's something that you're not used to. So I don't know, for example, like if you come from Java and you learn
Yeah.
Kotlin, okay, the principles are almost the same,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, Rust is something different.
Okay.
Let's say from a learning point of view, it's great, and also, but if you add Rust to your tool belt, you have something very powerful because you can create applications that are fast, safe,
Mm-hmm.
and reliable, and you can distribute to people without asking them to install the Java virtual machine, the Python virtual machine. You can compile to binary basically, and yeah, I think
So, like in one sentence, what do you think? Like, okay, this is about the programmers. What do you think about the businesses? Why they should adopt Rust?
it's very easy to sell. It's more safe. Like you don't get 70 plus more percent of the bugs you're seeing right now. It's more efficient. You save like you save compute, you save on your AWS bill. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you
Oh,
if you
okay.
use Lambda or if you use servers, you need like you need less powerful Lambdas. You need less powerful servers. You don't need that much RAM, which is
Right.
expensive these days. And also, it's easier to review. Like
Okay.
Google, there is a great use case study, which is Google adopting Rust for Android. And they saw that, of course, compared to C and C++, the memory issues, the bugs in general that they saw, they went down. But also they saw that they were reviewing PRs fast. They were doing less rollbacks. And no, it's for me, it's a no-brainer. The only thing that I like, the only use cases I can think about, I mean, probably there are more, but like, mm, maybe if you are writing embedded software and
Mhm.
your target doesn't support Rust, okay, you cannot use it. Like if the Rust compiler cannot compile for your architecture. And also maybe if you're doing front end, if you want to use Rust, you need to use WebAssembly, and so there may be a trade-off there. So, you might still want to rely on TypeScript there, and then you might say, okay, but if I just want to use one language. So for full stack apps, I still want to use still TypeScript on the back end. Okay, that's your choice. But
Yeah.
like, if you can choose between, I don't know, Rust, Java, like Python, I will choose 100% Rust. But of course, I'm biased.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm totally agree that it's more efficient and the safe. No brainer on that. So, Marco, like Rust is used by millions of programmers, right? So, how does CI/CD work at this scale where millions of programmers are using that? How that CI/CD things work there? What
Yeah,
tool you
sure.
that, or it just I just really want.
Yeah, for the listeners, I will mention that it's been 2 years that I joined the Rust Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
That is the foundation that supports the Rust project, and my work is to is to work in the Rust infrastructure team. So I'm in the team that maintains the Rust CI, among other things.
Okay.
And yeah, of course, Rust is a big project. And so we have a lot of challenges that normal projects don't have. For example, if your project takes 20 minutes to run CI, you might feel that it's slow and that you can optimize it. And like the problem is that the Rust CI takes 3 hours and 15 minutes to run on average. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, we have a mechanism to merge more PRs at once. So we group, for example, 3, 5 PRs, and we try to merge them all at once. Otherwise, we can, if you do the math, like we can just merge 6 PRs per day, which is not great. So first we group PRs together. We have this mechanism to group PRs together. So we developed our own tooling to deal with the CI. We have our own merge queue. We don't use the one of GitHub. And also, for example, one other fun issue that we encountered is that this space that it's available in GitHub Actions, the normal runners, wasn't enough. So we have scripts to delete stuff that we don't use in CI, like toolchains of other programming languages or browsers, so that we can use the standard runners of GitHub. And for example, GitHub offers for free organizations is just 20 runners concurrently for free, while when we want to merge something in the Rust compiler, it's 80 runners in parallel. So 80 jobs that run in parallel. So it's super challenging, but also super fun. You face problems that it's hard to face somewhere else. So it's very interesting from like challenge point of view. You learn a lot of things. On this topic about the Rust CI, I did a talk at RustConf that you can find on YouTube if you Google Marco Ieni RustConf 2025, where I showed how I made the CI 75% cheaper. Because previously, when you have something that, like, people, let's say, go just crazy. If you have resources, you use them all.
Yeah.
But then we said, okay, it's too much. We converted more large runners, so like beefy machines that have, like, I don't know, 32 gigabytes of RAM. We converted our jobs into the standard runners that everyone uses on GitHub. And so this makes more sustainable the CI, because it's for GitHub, it's cheaper to run these standard runners with respect to larger runners.
Okay, okay. Okay, I think that makes sense because I also worked with the CI/CD pipeline in some of my project, and it's really hard to manage it because if one piece is broken, then your entire CI/CD pipeline is broken, and it's kind of back and forth kind of task. But yeah, I think CI/CD is fun, and that's I hope I think it's really fun. Also wanted to know more about this later. So yeah, I really wanted to know what's the hardest part of maintaining infrastructure you felt like, oh my God, this is something really hard and I can't keep it.
Well, for sure, one part is handling the cost, right? People don't realize how many, for example, CI jobs we run, and GitHub is very generous, that donates lots of free standard runners, and we got credits from Microsoft. Use some large runners in GitHub. But apart from that, like, if you think about how many people download the Rust toolchain, so like Rust App Cargo, the Rust C compiler, and all the crates that they download, that's huge egress, a lot of bandwidth that our sponsors, like Fastly, mainly for the bandwidth they offer. The build is like it's very expensive. So let's say we need to maintain a good relationship with this company that allows to have Credits.io free for everyone, downloading free for everyone. And also, of course, we need to maintain things efficient, because if we just don't care, for example, for GitHub, we use all jobs, for example, are the biggest machine available. It's not sustainable for them, of course. And also we need to demonstrate that we do an efficient use of what they donate. Cost, maintaining things sustainable, is having the right trade-off there is one of the main thing. Because, for example, we pay some things by ourselves at the Rust Foundation, but for everything that we pay out of pocket, these are money that we cannot use to pay maintainers, like people working on an infrastructure team, but also other teams. Now we launched the founding team, where there are people asking to everyone in the project, every team, okay, who needs more money, who needs funding for people. And the more people we can donate there, the more the Rust ecosystem benefits from it. So one part of my job that is very important is keeping things sustainable, cheap as much as possible. Another part is just making everyone, keeping people happy, For example, now GitHub has a lot of outages, and
Right.
like some people are complaining, why are we on GitHub? Why don't we move to other platforms? It's not that we, let's say, first, it will take years for us to move. Like we need to migrate all the infrastructure that relies on GitHub, like our bots, everything, and
Yeah.
also find another forge that is mature as GitHub, that has all the features that we use from GitHub, and also is so kind to offer all these free runners for the CI. So nothing is perfect. And so, yeah, lots of people have complaints. Most of the time we try to listen, but also, and we implement their suggestions. So, but yeah, it's of course our job at the infrastructure team is improving also the productivity of the engineers that work at the Rust project.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a fine line between listening and not jump to implement everything they ask, because otherwise we get overwhelmed and
Of course, I mean, for any open source project, of course, we need more hands. We need some fundings and all to maintain this because it's very hard. Because what I can see, Rust is used by a lot of people. So it's kind of hard, but at the same time, it's very challenging, very interesting how you can manage such a huge project. So, Marco, my most interesting part of this podcast is about the release, please. So you have created the release, please, and I got very excited when somebody creates something. So tell us more about release, please. What it is and how, why you build it. What's the problem you were solving by that?
yeah, okay. Great to hear that you find it interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I built release-plz almost for the same reason why I built everything
Yeah.
else, to solve my own problems, because I think it makes you in a good position to be like the product owner of your own software. If you build something for other people, it's hard to understand the user experience problems and this kind of stuff. So I was in my intro layer, my first Rust company, let's say, the first company where we were using it, where I was using Rust, and we were starting open sourcing some of the crates that we created internally.
Mhm.
And so I was doing the process sometimes of updating the changelog, creating the Git tag, running cargo publish from my own machine. And that seems very, like, I'm a bit lazy for these things. I want to automate as much as possible, and like that feels boring to do and error prone. Like you can easily make some mistakes, and like it's also waste of time. So I analyzed what was tooling around. I didn't find anything that I liked. Or that fits my use case. And so, yeah, I started building Release Please, and it's great because I was like, while working on Release Please, I was also using it both at my previous company, but also to Release Please itself. So it's dog fooding, which is one of the secrets to make a great product.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then with time, more and more people used it and asked them more features that I didn't need, but what made sense, I included.
That's great. I mean, you have a lot of GitHub stars at as well for the release, please, around 1K. And that is very impressive because I know getting the 50 stars is also very difficult. So 1K for me is very huge. So congratulations for that. Like people are loving release, please. And to explore this release place. And so, Marco, what I can see in your profile that you contribute a lot. You really love contributing. So, I think from 4 to 5 years, you're contributing and maintaining things, right? So, how and where to get this motivation to keep contributing and maintaining the open source projects? Like, what's the motivation behind that?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of selfish and altruistic reasons. From a
Okay.
selfish point of view, when you do something visible, on your GitHub profile or whatever, you're selling yourself to other people or a company that might hire you. You
Yeah.
show that you can create something that
Mhm.
other people are using, which is great because, like, if you works, like if you create something that is it's where you only work on it, you
Yeah.
demonstrate that, yeah, it was just all because of you, you know? And so when you have an open source project, not only you need to work on the technical part, but you need to curate the documentation, you need to advertise for it, you need to show at conferences and talk about it. And so it shows to companies that you have a different skill set, not just, okay, I know how to program, how to solve lead code, you know? So I think, for example, when it comes to hiring, I like seeing good open source projects that have that are used in candidates. And also it's, yeah, exactly. You stress these skills, like you get better when with maintaining your own open source project, you get better in your technical skills, your marketing skills, your communication skills. I think it's a good gym to get better in general. So I think these are the, and then of course there is also, you know, external validation. Like when you go at conference, people shake your hand. Oh, I use this product. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's good, and that's what eventually keeps you going on, like maintaining things for 4 years. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because
and
it's very fascinating because if you are maintaining something or you have created something related to the Rust, and I saw many of the companies who's working with Rust a lot. So it's very fascinating. Okay, you guys are the experts of the Rust and they can directly talk to you. They can directly get the advice from you how to do it very efficiently, how they can use it in their business because most of the people are using, most of the businesses are using it, and you're making a huge impact.
yeah, exactly. Let's say yeah, companies, for example, can become members of the Rust Foundation, and they are more in contact with us. They get more, let's say, insights in advance about what's happening. But yeah, about, let's say, I mentioned before the selfish reasons for
Mhm.
contributing, but of course there are also the altruistic reasons, which is just you know, what I mentioned also previously, like helping others, making others more efficient, happier. You know, if people just to release the next version of the software, they just click the pull request match button is much
Yeah.
better than doing all that work manually. Knowing that people waste less time on curating their releases, and they spend more time in either building their own product or spending more time with their family. I don't know, it's great. And also I noticed that I mean, people, you know, when it happened to everybody, I think that you open a PR in an open source project or something, they accept it, but then it takes forever until they release the new version. So many people often had the issues in these projects saying,
Yeah.
please release a new version. If it's too boring, you can use release-plz, you know? And so people adopt release-plz, and then it's easier to release, and so they release more often, which, I mean,
That's
it's a
great.
huge impact. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's great. So can we use release please in any with any other repo?
Yeah, for now it works only for Rust projects. If I had time, I would also like to expand it, for example, to I don't know, JavaScript ecosystem with npm and npm, and also to Python. But I don't have this time, unfortunately. And it works for repositories that publish their credits on Crits.io. There is
Yeah.
also support for, if you don't want to publish on Crits.io, for example, you just want to publish the Git tag and create the GitHub release. But this
Yeah.
is quite new, and so there are some bugs that I still struggle to find time to review PRs and this kind of stuff these days. But yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah, because I was seeing the release please repo and I just saw the last commit is 6 hours ago. I'm like, okay, Marco is working on it, or maybe another member is working on it. So that's great. I mean, you are so passionate about this product, and it will be good that if it's available for another programming language as well. So that's a great idea. So Marco, do you also want to share something else about the Rust, or if not, then we can jump into the small, fun, rapid fire game.
Yeah, I have two call to actions, maybe one for yeah, people that want to work on open source. I would say the Rust project sounds intimidating at first, maybe, but actually is a great place to be in. Like if you want to contribute to Rust itself, we have lots of projects with Clippy, we have our bots. I don't know, we have every possible area that you want to work on, we have, like if whether it is front end, back end, compiler, anything. So let's say if you want to become a member of the Rust project, eventually be part of this great thing, you can reach out to Zulip, our chat. And also, if you're listening to this and you use Rust at your company, evaluate the becoming a member of the Rust Foundation, because you support the programming language, you show everyone that you use Rust, so people are more likely to join your company, like check your writing page, and you get a bit of additional benefits.
So about that, Marco, the last point, if the company wants to become the member of the Rust Foundation, so what's the process, like how that membership would look like, and what's the benefit the businesses can get? Because in the market, what I can feel, the people I am having the discussion with regarding the Rust, so they have this confusion. Okay, we don't have the best people to work on the project, so they need someone, they need some advisor and all. So, that will be easy for them to adopt Rust in their organization. So, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, so to join the Rust Foundation, there is a get involved
Mhm.
page. Where it explains the process. Mainly, you just send an email to us. Yes, let's say like it's not that. No, you join the Rust Foundation and you get hours of consulting from us, this kind of stuff. But for sure, you get access to many things. As I was saying, like for example, one thing that we started doing is the Rust commercial network. So like
Okay.
we organize meetings with the other companies that are part of the Rust Foundation, and so these companies can get together and share their experience with working in Rust, and so they can help each other.
Yeah.
And like let's say you also get some level of, let's say, being represented in our board.
Mhm.
Of course, if you pay more, like if you pay a
Mhm.
lot of money, you get one person from your team that
Yeah.
represents there, but these are like Google, AWS, the big companies.
Mhm.
But if you participate as the lower member, which is the silver, you have your own voice. Like, let's say that there is one representative for all these companies, and so you can speak to them, and they can then speak to us.
Ok-
To also tell what you need, let's say, from the Rust Foundation, the Rust project, and we make sure that your thoughts are represented. I don't know.
Okay. That's great. Hope the people who are listening and the businesses who is planning to, adopt Rust, they can get more information through this podcast. And I'll also see how to become a member and all. I'm just curious. Yeah. So, okay, now this is the fun part of this podcast. It's kind of rapid fire fun, this and that. So, I'm not going to ask a very difficult question, but the one thing is that you don't have to think much before answering, or whatever comes into your mind, you can just say it.
I'm
So,
ready.
okay, I'm also doing it for the first time. So, like previously, I'm like, okay, the questions and all, but okay, I'm this time, okay, let's do rapid fire kind of fun thing for the podcast. Okay, let's start it. Rust in one word.
Secure
Startup or big tech?
startup.
Rust, Go, or C++?
Rust or C++. I mean, I don't. I don't even answer.
Okay, if you could have coffee with any programmer, who would it be?
Orun from
Sorry?
Orun Parmaxis
Okay.
from yeah.
Okay, we'll see who's around. Okay, if you were not in tech, what would your career be?
I would be a musician maybe. I play guitar
Wow.
in my spare time.
So great. Okay, so GitHub stars are the actual users for you. What's
Actual
next?
users, of course.
Yeah, rest or sleep.
Rust.
Really? Oh my god, you really love the rest. Okay, coffee or energy drink?
None of them.
None of them.
But yeah,
Oh,
maybe one will be coffee. Yeah.
okay, okay. So that's it for the rapid fire. It is fun, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you played really well, Marco. So Marco, we are end of this podcast. So what's the advice you want to share with the audience? What's your life mantra?
Okay, so maybe I have one, let's say, job-related advice, which is just get curious, follow your curiosity, get deep into the things that interest you, and
Mm.
it will probably be fine. Life mantra, I don't know, just chill. We're all going. This is going to end, so just chill, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, maybe also, you know, like I love Seneca, Marco Aurelio, Stoicism, and so don't get too bored about, like, don't get influenced about external factors too much
Mm.
in your
Mm.
life.
Correct. I'm totally agree with this, and thank you so much for this valuable advice. And thank you so much for contributing to the Rust, because I know there's very less people who care about the open source, who care about the product. Just because of you, the people who is contributing to the open source, just because of them, the another millions of developers currently are able to build the things on top of that. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Monica, for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. See you on the next podcast. Thank you so much,
See you.
everybody.
Bye.